Good evening. All right. Who wants to get started? Okay. Guess where our speaker got his master's from? So, louder? All right, I'm going to run through some quick announcement slides, and we are going to hopefully get the microphone issue kind of fixed. We have one wireless microphone working and the other one not working. But let me do some announcements, okay? This is the second class. Are you guys excited? Are you exhausted from class today? Okay, here we go. All right, just some announcements is, as we all heard last week, the theme of this semester's Newton series is compassion amidst capitalism. And Tuesday, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And we've got both course coordinators here today. Amy managed, she came in. So Amy, stand up. Amy Jane. And then Secretary Nat, who you met last week. Their emails are on there. This is already in files on B courses, but you can always take a picture, so you don't have to go into B courses to find their emails. All right? All right, attendance. I am not counting or tracking people for attendance last week. Okay, so for all of you who are like frantically emailing me, honest, I was there, or, you know, I had this really good excuse for not being here. So the way we're tracking attendance, we've been trying to figure out, how do we track attendance? If we give out codes, someone can text their friends and they have the code, right? But like, how do we get around it? So our solution for getting around it is that you take a selfie of yourself or the speaker in the background. You don't have to be right up with them, because that's 350 pictures for Badri. And he loves you, but not 350 of you. He's got his own kids. Okay. And so what you're going to do is then upload it to the assignment. There's an assignment for attendance, all right? And it will be due by the next day. And I do have a program set up so that I can see if someone did photoshopping. Hey. So those of you who are thinking, oh, we're going to get around it, I don't think so. So later on, after Dean Liu and introduces the speaker, Badri, then he's going to give a talk. Then she's going to do a fireside chat with him. And then after that, we'll open it up for Q&A. How about how? Okay. So in order to ask questions, you can raise your hand and ask physically, or you can text questions to this number. Okay? How about how? All right. And whatever you do, please don't ask one of those long questions and tell us your bio. We just want the question, all right? So let's get started.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, one last thing. Next week, our speakers are the founders of Perimeter, Bailey Farron and Noah Wu. They are founders of Perimeter, which they were just chosen in the Forbes 30 under 30. And where do they come from? They're both Bears, okay? So this week, our speaker is Badri Kothandaraman. How close?
Close enough.
Okay. And he is the CEO of Enphase Energy, which is doing amazing things to really get solar energy and sustainable energy out there in the market. And he'll tell us more. And he's a bear. And we're very lucky today because we have Dean Liu. Okay, which school is she the dean of? Good job. She's going to introduce him, and then he'll do his talk, and then she'll have a fireside chat. So let's give a welcome to Dean Liu.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year. It's my pleasure to introduce our alum, distinguished alum, Badri. He joined Enphase in April 2017 and as Chief Operating Officer, and within 1 year, he was promoted to be President and CEO of this company. And he'll tell you how much progress he's made since then. But let me just tell you a little bit about his background. He has before going to Enphase, he had over 20 years of experience in the semiconductor industry at a company called Cypress Semiconductor. And there he rose up in the management ranks in charge of various memory chip technologies. And he eventually decided to transition to Enphase. So he received his bachelor's degree in India, and he might tell you a little bit about his very first international trip. But he ended up coming here, fortunately for us, to UC Berkeley to earn his master's degree in material science and engineering. He did spend a little bit of time afterwards at a school across the bay to gain some experience in executive management. He might tell you a little bit about that. But please join me in giving a warm welcome to Badri.
Mic testing, 1 million, yeah, 2 million, yeah, 3 million. All right, good. So before I start, let me ask you a question. Who among the audience knows what Enphase does? Not you, Gigi.
The quick Google search that I did beforehand said that you were working on solar energy, specifically with microinverters on a smaller scale, and dealing with getting things out to homes for powering electric.
That's right. We make microinverters. That's a microinverter. So what does a microinverter do? Anybody? Turns DC from solar panels into AC. And what do we use for the home? Do we use the alternating current or direct current? Okay, alternating current AC. The thing that you plug into that socket is an AC socket. So our microinverters they are below every solar panel, and they take DC from the solar panel, convert into AC, and we ship nearly 5 million of them every quarter. So 5 million of them every quarter, that means approximately what? So what's that, 50,000? 50,000 a day approximately. 50,000 microinverters a day. And we have over 2.7 million homes with Enphase microinverters. And I'm going to show you some live demos, and it's pretty cool. So let's get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. Yeah, I like to walk around. Hopefully you guys don't mind. I was born in India. So Tamil Nadu. Education was a very high priority for my family. My mother stood in the line overnight to get me admission into kindergarten for the best school in this city. So I studied there, Chennai, for 12 years in the same school. So I passed out, then I did my material science at IIT Madras. So I graduated from there. In 93, I came here August 9th, 1993. That's when I came to Berkeley, a master's in material science at Berkeley. Berkeley was That's the place that gave me incredible confidence. And that's the place where I worked with my material science professor. His name was Robert Ritchie. He worked on fatigue and fracture mechanics, on how, like he was involved in, for example, the Bay Bridge. It basically collapsed in the earthquake. I think that was in 1989. And he was involved in that, on how the Bay Bridge cracked and what can we do in order to prevent bridges from cracking. So I was very fortunate to do my research under him. I learned everything, about how to present, about how to solely focus on facts, no politics, no bullshit. So I learned all of that from him. And then I worked at Cypress Semiconductor for 21 years. This is, Enphase is only my second job. Enphase is my second job after 27 years. I worked at Cypress Semiconductor for 21 years. I started in the fab, process technology. I was the only engineer among all operators on the night shift. I went into the office at midnight, I came out at noon. Okay, and I worked 3 days in 1 week and 4 days in another week. So 12 hours times 7 is actually 84 hours in 2 weeks. It's roughly 42 hours a week. And there I learned about ownership, about responsibility, but it was fun. But I could not do night shift for more than 2 years, right? So I basically moved from process technology into design, to design chips. I worked there for a few years. And then, by accident, my boss quit at that time. And my boss's boss told me that I was running a business from tomorrow. So I started running a business, started running memory businesses. I was running, if some of you know about memory chips, I was running that business, static random access memories. I worked on all kinds of memories, non-volatile memories that don't lose their data. And then I worked on USB, which was connectivity. And then, just before I left, 2016 I left, just then we had acquired an Internet of Things business from Broadcom, Avago. So I did that, and after a few months I left. And why did I leave? At that time I was just tired of working on chips without understanding the end application, without understanding my exact end customer, how he was using it, and I didn't see that in action. I wanted to get into something where I saw my product being used in a system, and that system was used by a customer, and I could get real-time feedback from that customer, and I could make the product better. So I was yearning to do system-level stuff, and that's why I left. That's why I left Cypress. Then I dabbled in a couple of startups for some time, and then my former boss, the Cypress CEO, his name is T.J. Rogers. He's an amazing guy. He founded Cypress. He ran Cypress for 34 years, 1982 to 2016. And he had also left the company. He had retired. Then he called me late 2016, a casual call. He said, there is this company I'm working with. They are in trouble. They are spending money like drunken sailors, right? And they are $300 million. They make $300 million of revenue a year, but they are valued less than $100 million. I mean, can you imagine that? They ship $300 million of revenue, but the stock market values them at less than $100 million. And the company was very close to running out of cash. So John Doerr. Do you guys know John Doerr? Anyone here? Okay, he's a venture capitalist. He founded Kleiner Perkins. He's a billionaire. He's worth more than $4 or $5 billion. He had invested in Enphase in 2012. So therefore, he called up my former boss. He said, it's a good company. The company is in trouble. They are about to go bankrupt. Can you do something about it? He said, he told my former boss, TJ Rogers, saying, if you put in $5 million, I will also put in $5 million. And, I want you to come on the board and help management. So when TJ came on board, he invested, both of them together invested $5 million each, so total $10 million, 92 cents they invested in the company, which means they got shares of the company. At that time, the stock price was $1. So they got 5.5 million shares each for 92 cents. So 5.5 million shares times 92 cents, $5 million. So they got that. So TJ Rogers came on board. He gave me a call saying that you should come and take a look at this company. Yeah, because I had worked with him for the last 20 plus years. We had established a good rapport. He said, come and take a look at this company. That's how I met with the Enphase CEO at that time. That was in early 2017. So what do you think that is? That picture? Okay, battery. That's a battery. We also do batteries. We just started shipping battery from 2020 onwards. So battery is required because especially California, Florida, Texas, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, the utility power is not reliable. And there are times of extreme heat where PG&E, the Pacific Gas and Electricity in California, will shut off power because they just don't have enough power to supply for all the demand when everybody is turning on their air conditioners. If you go to Puerto Rico, for example, that island doesn't have a good power infrastructure, so it is shaky inherently. So they need alternate sources of power. So when power goes out, you need a battery in order to make sure your home is still powered. That's, in addition to microinverters, while microinverters is the bread and butter of our business, batteries are something that we have just started. And I'll show you a demo of that. So that was the situation when I came into the company. I met with the CEO. So many investors had left the solar space. They thought that inverters, the area we are in, is a complete commodity product. So what do I mean by a commodity product? People need commodity products, but the price is going only one way, which is down. Lot of competition, no differentiation. So the fundamental rule of a healthy business is you add value. That is, your product is different from other people's product because of a few characteristics. And we had those characteristics. What were those characteristics? That is our microinverter. That microinverter there is made up of semiconductor components, small components. And we have 20 panels. Below each panel is a microinverter. So even if one microinverter doesn't work, you still have 95%. You still have 95% production. So we took what was a big, ugly piece, which was sitting in the garage, where the DC input from the solar panel used to come to the garage directly, and give an output, give the output of AC. We took that, and what we did was we broke it down into 20 little chunks, each of which are under the panel, and each of which are very close to an iPhone, Plus, for example, iPhone 13 Plus. That's the size of the microinverter. We made it possible, or Enphase made it possible because of, nanotechnology. So that was the situation I came into the company. So I met with the CEO. He showed me the microinverter. And I instantly fell in love with it. It was a small piece of hardware, beautiful to look at, very compact, producing 300 watts of power, which is a lot, 25 years on the roof, 25 years warranty. Can you imagine that? So I just saw it, and I said, it was a gut feeling. I said, this is the company. This is what I want to do. I want to work on this product. And the biggest thing is it's connected to the internet. It's a cloud-connected device. But the company was losing its ass, right? They hadn't paid bonuses for years. There was only $10 million in the bank. We didn't know if we were going to make payroll the next week. Still, I didn't care. And I took probably a 80-90% pay cut from my previous job because my stock options were worthless. Whatever they gave me is a stock option. And the stock option is of value only when the stock goes up. And this stock had dropped all the way down to under $1. I'll show you the graph. And so my stock options were worthless. I was getting the base salary, which is not much. Still, I did not care because I fell in love with the product, and I think that is our fundamental value proposition even today. In terms of pure innovation, that semiconductor-based product, sleek form factor, minimum number of components, highest quality, 25 years on the roof, unbelievable product. That's the core. You cannot run a business if you have a shitty product. You cannot run a business. Fundamental value proposition of a business is the product, right? And we had that right. But the set of people in the company couldn't run a business. Easy problem to fix. Easy problem. I cannot fix a product problem because that will take years, right? It will take usually 3 to 5 years to conceive of a product, to add value, to really, do things right. But all of that work had been done by some brilliant people. So I can take no credit for that. However, they didn't know how to run a business. So you can see the metrics. We were 400 employees worldwide, 400 plus. We were shipping 3 million microinverters annually. So you can see roughly $100 per microinverter, roughly. So 3 million times $100, that's $300 million of revenue. $300 million, margins were bad, 18%. So what does that mean? Red means what here? Bracket means losing money. $52 million a year, $13 million a quarter, losing money. And the EPS, of course, you take the loss and you divide by the number of shares, and that's the earnings per share. So this is why investors were fleeing the space, because they didn't believe in management. They didn't believe this was a business worthwhile to run. That's the situation I came in, and I came in as the chief operating officer. So in April, I came in as the chief operating officer. Soon the CEO got fired. He got fired, and they had no choice. They had to bring somebody else, or they had to put me. And I was lucky they chose me, I guess. So How did I turn Enphase around? I'm going to be brief here. Strong executive leadership. You need a team that you have worked with in the past who believes in the same things as you do. That's extremely important. As a leadership team, all of you have to be aligned. So that's what I did. People who were not aligned with our core philosophy, we had to let them go. We brought in strong management that I had worked with before. We formed a very strong executive team. Daily cash. Cash is like oxygen. You don't have oxygen, you're in trouble. You cannot breathe. That is cash. You don't have money, you cannot pay people. People are going to leave. You have to shut down. So we had to do whatever it takes in order to conserve cash. In the early days, we focused on nothing else but to save money. Nothing else. We had to call our suppliers saying, hey, can I pay you? Instead of paying you in 30 days, can I pay you in 120 days? And by the way, I still need some product from you. Right? And then we had to call up customers saying, can you pay me early? So we had to do that. Then we had to reduce the inventory that we had. We cannot produce a lot of things because we didn't have capital for it. And with regarding new products, a company, has to, if it has to make progress over time, you need new products. We stopped all but the most important new product. Only one product. We only focused on one product. In fact, at that time, the company was also working on batteries in 2017. I killed that effort. I only focused on the latest generation microinverter. That's that. That's our factory in India, by the way. We got 3 factories. Today we have 3 factories. Mexico, China was the original factory, and India. And soon, in this quarter, Romania will be coming up. And then by the end of this year, we'll have 3 sites in the US, in Wisconsin, Dallas, and South Carolina. So we are rapidly expanding. By the way, interesting fact in this factory is 99% of the labor is women here. 99% in Chennai. So big deal. So we stopped all new products but the most important one. We focused on the basics. You laugh at me if you hear it. Don't sell a product for price less than cost. Right? But that was reality. To some customers, we were selling a large portion of our business. To some customers, we were selling at a price that made no sense at all. So we had to go, we call that as a profitless prosperity. Or one more way to call it as empty calorie revenue. That's what we had. We had a lot of empty calorie revenues. So what I did was I got rid of all of them. I actually went and sat in front of the customers and said, I have to increase your price by 20%. Okay, I'm sorry. And the customers always had choices. They had competitors to go to. And so I told them respectfully that, look, you can go and buy from competition. We are okay with it. But in order for me to do business with you, the price is going up immediately by 20% from tomorrow. And so we lost some accounts. Some accounts stayed with us. To actually tell you a story. Our biggest customer at that time, the name was Vivint Solar. I actually went, it was the CEO. I was talking to him, right across the table. And I told him the situation. I said, the price is X. I got to increase the price by 20%. And he said, I thought we were helping you. I told him, no, you're not helping us. Because every microinverter I ship to you, I ship you a few dollars in addition to the microinverter. And I don't want to do that any longer. And fortunately, the guys who stuck with us, are what we call as the small and medium business owners. Our product was so good that they could easily install it on the roof and they didn't have to worry about it later. So quality was fantastic, and the product was so innovative that it was all plug and play on the roof. So fortunately, they stuck with us. Our volumes went down, but we were more profitable. And there were a lot of loyal customers, the small, like what I said, small businesses, they stuck with us. So pricing team, I created a pricing team. I mean, pricing is one of the most neglected things. It's just amazing how a most valuable role like pricing can get delegated to, somebody like a clerk in the entire company. In fact, pricing is the place where you get the highest return on investment. Reducing the cost is so hard to do. You can't drop costs that easily without doing something fundamental. But pricing is something where you have to have a tough negotiation. It is selling skill. You have to sell the value proposition of your product. Okay, my product has got higher quality than competition. I should be able to charge a lot more for my product versus competition. So we did that. We were laser focused on the customer. We started to measure everything that mattered. That's an important thing. Measure what matters. That's been our philosophy. If something is bad, you have to first learn how to measure it properly, because when it is measured and it is put up as a dashboard, everybody looks at it and say, yeah, you know what, we got to go improve it. I mean, everybody wants to do the right thing. But starting to measure, starting to manage it, starting to take goals for it, that's what we did. And of course, we made the customer experience a priority. The previous management, what they did was they didn't take calls from homeowners. I mean, it's just ridiculous. When you or me as a homeowner would used to call Enphase because there was some problem, we used to hang up on them. I mean, that's the most customer hostile. In fact, my ex-boss had a term for it. He said, okay, Enphase is 1-800-FU. That's what he said. And that was exactly true. We were customer hostile. We didn't pick up customer calls. We picked up only calls from an installer. So we changed that. We became, despite me doing a layoff in the company, after I came, I increased the customer service department to open it up for homeowners and installers to provide outstanding customer service. That's what we did. So really, from this, it's focusing on the basics. Do a few things, but do them right. That's what we did. Now, today, end of 2022, 2,834 employees right now. We are headquartered in Fremont. We are a part of S&P 500. Who here knows what an S&P 500 is? Okay, tell me.
It contains the stocks of the top 500 companies.
Top 500 companies, a Standard & Poor's index. Very difficult to get into, very prestigious, index. We are also just got into the NASDAQ 100. So what is NASDAQ 100? It should be obvious now. 100 most valuable companies in the NASDAQ index. We got into the NASDAQ 100. We are reinventing the grid by adding, once you start making money, then you can invest. Then I restarted storage. I restarted batteries. I had killed batteries in 2017. I restarted batteries in 2019. And we introduced our battery in 2020. We introduced a full solar and storage system. So that's that. transition from a pure solar company to a solar plus storage company, energy company. We take care of all your energy needs, which I'll show to you. So, this would be good for you to see. 2017 versus 2022. 400 employees, 2,800 employees, 3 million microinverters shipped a year, 15 million microinverters, $300 million of revenue, $2.3 billion of revenue, 18.4% margin, that's called gross margin, operating margin, 42% gross margin. What's that number? 52 million loss and 618 million profit. 618 divided by 2.3 billion, that's 25% profit. Earnings per share, $4.41. When you do all of this, what happens? What does Wall Street do? What happens to your stock price? It goes up. So, stock price I joined $1. We were valued at $115.5 million when I joined. Today, stock price, or December 31st, $264. $36 billion market cap. That's what we did. We grew, I mean, in Wall Street jargon, if I want to brag, I'll say 30,000% we grew, which is basically 300 times. So that's what you do when, and the requirement, we were able to do it in a relatively short time because, why? Why were we able to do this? Because I had a good product. I had a good product. All I did was to fine-tune the business a little bit here and there. That's all I did. Focusing on the basics. Don't do stupid shit. Don't sell product for price less than cost. Take care of your customers. Ship high quality product. When a customer calls, answer the phone. Goddamn simple, right? You do simple things. Your product needs to be great. That's the North Star. You have a great product, you have everything. That's an example of, those are our microinverters on the roof, and the panels are not shown here. The solar panels are not shown here for clarity. So there is 10 microinverters here on this roof. These are all giving energy there. That's the AC that's coming in. And that comes in through, and this is your battery, for example. And together they combine and go to the home there. So we do that. We do these microinverters. We do that battery. We do EV chargers too. We control the entire system. We have load controllers, which is we can tell you, for example, when you lose power, we can say this particular air conditioner cannot run at that time, so that your rest of the home has plenty of power to consume. All right, now I'm going to show you, hopefully my app works. I'm going to show you that. Let me see if it's good. Hold on. Is that clear? All right. What's happening now? Let me just go to the live status feature on the top right. And I want one of you to tell me, what do you see? So what's happening right now? Anybody? The battery is powering the home. What am I taking from the utility grid? Nothing. Zero. I'm not consuming anything from the utility. Of course, I don't have any solar right now. Why? There is no sun right now. Right? So, I am on self-consumption. Self-consumption means what? Anybody?
Self-reliant on your own power.
Exactly right. I am relying on my own power. What's my own power? My solar panels, my microinverters, they produce power. They store it in the battery. Any excess power, they store it in the battery. And the battery provides the power at night time. So you see that there. And you see the load control there, right? The one in the bottom where it says downstairs AC is powered. So you see that? The downstairs AC and upstairs AC. So when I go off grid, those will not be powered because you want to conserve the battery. So what's the battery percentage here? What's the battery percentage? 56%. And if I go there, if I see here, for example, there, it says based on the last 24 hours of consumption, your Enphase system will run approximately for 12 hours without any grid power. So this will come for 12 hours at the rate of consumption that I have. And one of the things cool here is when I go to settings, for example, I can go off grid. I can disconnect physically my utility grid from my home. So all I need to do is with that, I can go after your house connection. You will lose connection to the grid. And I do that, I go off grid. And I got that 4-digit code that is sent to my email address. Why? Because if you go off grid, then you can lose power if you have too many loads running in the home. So that's why we have an extra level of security. And of course, I'm not going to do it now. My wife and daughters are there at home. Right? So, but you can go and check here on your verification code. That's what I got right now. The last one, that's here, 7:25 p.m. What's the time right now? Yeah, 7:25. So that says the verification code is 6699, and this code is valid for 15 minutes. Do that. Okay, so that, you saw that's local. What do you think is happening right now in Hawaii? I'm going to go to one of our systems in Hawaii. Let me see if that works. What's the time there right now? So maybe you should see the sun. Maybe you should see the solar production. So let's see if this works or not. So there it is. Rick Mann, he is one of our customers there. And so that's him in Hawaii. And you see that there. What's happening here? So what's the battery, first of all? 100%, right? Solar panels are producing. And the batteries are full, so where is the power going? Back to the grid, and they get paid for it. That's called net metering. You get paid for it. Your home is only 0.6 kilowatts. Your solar panels, 1.5 kilowatts. So that's the system in Hawaii that's right now being powered by the sun. And completely, this is also on self-consumption, as you can see. So look at their energy independence. What's their energy independence below? What's that number? The bottommost number. 99%. 99% means today only 1% of their energy has come from the utility grid. Only 1%. 99% is either they generate or they consume from the battery. That's what we do. We power energy independence. Everybody has got freedom in a lot of things they do, but you don't have freedom in your, utility, to control your utility, for example. With this, you can, because you're no longer consuming from the utility. Go ahead.
So previously you showed that you can choose to disconnect your system from the grid if you want to.
Yeah.
What would be the benefit of doing that? Is it only when you have like blackouts or when the grid is down? What's the benefit of disconnecting?
Many times in California, what happens is there is a Cal ISO that manages all the power within California. You will find this often. In August and September, during peak summer days or peak hot days, they cannot produce enough power to feed all consumption, all demand. So at that time, a system like ours, simple, all the grid needs to do is to tell the homeowner, saying, you know what, we need you to not rely on the grid today, because if you take your consumption off the grid, then we can feed the people who don't have batteries, for example. So we can help the grid, and that's called grid services. We can service the grid. We can service it through two forms. One is this battery. Pretty soon, the battery in your electric vehicle can be used for the same thing. The electric vehicles have batteries that are very large. A Tesla, for example, has got a 100 kilowatt hour battery. You can use this to power your home for 5 days with a Tesla or with a Nissan. In addition, meaning of course, but the vehicle still needs to be at home for 5 days, right? So that's not practical. So you need a combination of both. And then you can have unlimited independence. And that's what all of us want, because we don't want to be told you cannot have power at 4 p.m. on September 15th, right? You don't want to be told that. You want to be able to do whatever you want whenever you want to do. This allows you to do that. That's what we do for a living. All right, clear? All right, good. Let me go to this. Okay, and I'm going to talk for another couple of minutes and stop. That's the one that I showed just now. Yeah, can you guys hear me? So we talked about most of this, right? We talked about most of this. You cannot hear me? They cannot hear me. This is on. Hello? Hello? Hello?
That's strange.
Yeah, maybe the battery is gone here. Oh, now it's.
I think it's the podium.
Yeah, can you hear me? So, we talked about most of this. All right, can you hear me now?
All right.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we talked about most of this. The first thing is, so number one is differentiated products. Number one. Without that, there is nothing. Focusing on the basics, we talked about it. It's nothing more complex. Just answer the phone, right? When people call, they want to buy your product. Take care of people when they have problems. Get the right value for your product. Quality trumps everything. You don't want to ship low quality shit to people. you have a moral obligation to, you cannot make revenue by any means here. Your product needs to be the best in terms of quality, and you should be absolutely sure when you ship it. I will compromise on revenue any day and, only ship highest quality product. If I know that there is a defect in a product, I will say, I am perfectly fine sacrificing $20 million of revenue in this quarter. And that's the mindset of the company. That's the core value of the company, that quality is everything. Superior customer experience. When a customer, most customers reach me through LinkedIn. Why? Because they have a problem, their installer is not helping them. And Enphase customer service, they called him, but still didn't get good answers. They reach me. I get a lot of private emails. And every one of them, I make it a federal case. I broadcast it to the company. I say, why are we not reacting in hours? Why does this customer have to complain when he bought a $50,000 system? And that's the culture in the company. I'm not proud of, when I retire, if I retire. I don't want to be known for increasing the stock price or for making a lot of revenue. I want to be known for somebody who takes good care of his customers. That's it. That's all I want to be known for. And that's the culture of the company. The moment you insert revenue or profit, it would be the wrong thing as a metric. Instead, the revenue and profit will be outputs. But the effort you put in taking care of the customer are the inputs, and they will automatically result in you getting high revenue. Because people want to be associated with a company that ships high quality products and takes care of customers. It's as simple as that. And you see it. You see it as an example, Apple. Apple, for example. Despite the iPhone being expensive, it just simply works. When is the last time you called Apple customer service? Never, right? I've never called them in the last 15 years. So culture of innovation. So I talked about the best product. In order for us to have the best product, you need to foster a culture of innovation. You cannot compromise on certain areas. And we need the best people, the best minds here. We need the best minds. We need constant inflow of talent. That's what we need. Don't neglect pricing. I talked about that. Be lean. Frugality breeds, innovation. Be lean. Right now is a downturn in the US. So that means everyone in our company has to be spending money carefully. They cannot, travel is on a freeze. You just cannot randomly travel for internal meetings. But we will never stop traveling to meet a customer. That's important. Build systems and metrics, because the moment you measure something and you elevate it, you can count on people to look at it and fix the problems. All you need to do is that spark where you highlight that these are the metrics that matter to everybody in the company. Measure what matters. Simple and straight messaging. I meet with investors. I meet with customers. I meet with employees. I meet with shareholders. I meet with suppliers. I cannot say different things to different people. I just cannot even keep track of who I said what to. Right? The only way that we can all live with is keeping simple messaging, totally transparent, brutally honest. So therefore, there is no sugarcoating in our meetings. If there is a problem, you can count on me in the first 15 minutes of the meeting to say, this doesn't look right, you need to go and fix it. Or you have done a shitty job here. Right? And it's important that culture is there. Okay, got it. So she's just showing me the time. Be humble. That's extremely important. All of the success, taking the stock price, 300 times, etc., can get into your head very, very fast. That's why our enemy is no longer competition, but ourselves, complacency. Intel CEO, former CEO, Andy Grove. What did he say? Anybody? Only the paranoid survive. So you have to keep watching competition. You have to keep watching what are the trends, right? You have to be worried about what your customers want. You have to agonize over it. And only the paranoid survive. That's extremely important for us to know. And so that's it. That's my last slide. So that's the future. We are powering energy independence, solar plus storage. Come join us. We focus on innovation, quality, and we will take care of customers. We make, use, save, sell, solar power. That's what we do. All right, thank you.
Thanks so much, Badri. I think, the story, thank you for telling us the story of Enphase and your own personal career journey. You set an outstanding example of compassion amid capitalism. Okay, so I know time is tight, and I wanted to give a chance for the students to ask a question, but I'd like to ask just a couple of questions to start us off. Can you explain to us how Berkeley contributed to your success?
Well, I already answered that. It is, I came to Berkeley here August 9th, 1993. The flight landed at 7 p.m. I basically, when I came out of the airport, it was 8:45. I was amazed, it was still bright. I had no idea that the sun could stay till 8:45 p.m. And then, my father had arranged, one of our, distant relatives to come and pick me up. So I went and stayed with him in the night, and I got dropped off at Berkeley the next day. And, that's the first time I had actually even stepped on a plane, by the way. I had not even traveled by plane. And then, then I took my first flight that was like 20 hours from Singapore. So when I came to Berkeley, I got dropped off at another, some people who were from India. They were students. There were 4 of them in a room. And then I knew what grad school was going to look like. But what was so important is each one of them guided me a lot. They guided me a lot. They taught me about independence. The next day, they took me to apply for a social security number, right? So I did that. I opened up a bank account, and then I went to, at that time, our engineering school had arranged a meeting with all the students. All the students get to know each other. At that time, I met with so many people, all from different countries. And everybody was in a similar situation. We were all kind of lost. We were all lost. We had never gone outside our neighborhood. We were all here. We were curious. We didn't know how things work. but we had some kind of support system. All of us knew who to talk to. There were a lot of people there to help. And, the first, I won't say it was always easy, but I think, Berkeley did their best. I mean, they were amazing. Especially the first 30 days when you feel homesick, Berkeley was amazing at that time, especially the universities. And then what happened was, then I went to the Lawrence Berkeley Laboratory. My professor is there, Robert Ritchie. And from him, I learned, like what I told you, I learned the most. Somehow, looking at his towering personality, the way he analyzed problems, the way he talked to people, the way he encouraged me, the way he, when I didn't do a good job in presenting, he took me into his office and said, have no fear. Fear is your biggest enemy. There is no reason for you to be afraid of anybody. There is no reason for you to think about what other people will feel, about you. They don't care, to tell you the truth, right? You are on your own. So just focus on the facts, do the best job as you can, don't play politics, and you will succeed. And I've taken that to heart. And, I still thank my professor, Robert Ritchie, for enabling, that kind of an environment for me. And I strongly believe that, helped me make, what I am today.
Okay, so certainly the students here are fantastic, and they can help each other learn and collaborate and innovate together, and our faculty are outstanding, right? Is that right? So, Badri, you mentioned at the beginning of your talk, your story of how you went to Enphase. John Doerr, if some of you don't know, he was the one who donated $1 billion to Stanford last year to establish a new school of sustainability. And we can see where he earned his $1 billion, right? So I'm wondering if John understands that the importance that Berkeley played in your career and therefore in his own success, and wondering, you can just answer yes or no, can you help him consider donating to Berkeley?
She's exactly right. John Doerr, at that time, that investment that he made, 5.5 million shares at 92 cents in 2017, that 5.5 million shares is worth what now? 5.5 times, let's say $200, $1.1 billion. So that 5 million is now multiplied into 1.1 billion, and certainly Berkeley had a big role to play in that. So in my next conversation with John Doerr, I'll be sure to mention it.
He did speak here also at the news series.
All right.
All right, we heard him, right? Okay, any questions? We have just a few minutes left. Only because you had asked, I think you already asked a question, right? Let's just give other people a chance, and they'll come back. First in the front, and then number 2, number 3, and then we'll come back. Okay, please.
Thank you for your keynotes, your inspiring keynotes, and congratulations for what you're to achieve. So I want to ask you about the pricing model. What does it say, or how much does it cost to start your technology app?
Yeah, the question is pricing. How much does it, what is the pricing model, and how much does it cost to install your product? So we sell the product to a distributor. The distributor sells to an installer. The installer is the one who comes and installs it on your home. So, roughly I would say a solar system costs about $3 a watt. $3 a watt. That means if you have 20 solar 20 solar panels on your home, each of which is, let's say, 300 watts of DC. So that's roughly 6 kilowatts. 6 kilowatts multiplied by 3, $18,000. So out of that $18,000, the homeowner pays $18,000. Yeah, homeowner like you and me. And we get 30% off our federal, that's 30% off. The government gives 30% off when you file the tax return. So you automatically get $5,400 off. The homeowner gets that. The installer, of course, gets his $18,000. And how much does it cost the installer? It roughly costs him $15,000. So he makes a profit of about $3,000. So the installer has to make a profit. The distributor has to make a profit. Equipment owners all have to make a profit. So, of course, the chain will get leaned out as time progresses. It'll always go to the lowest cost, but that's the cost structure right now. Some people, prefer to own the system. They prefer to pay outright cash. Some people would take a loan. Some people would like to do a lease. That is they lease their roof space for X number of years, and they don't even buy equipment. And there are various models, but the best model that I would recommend is cash. Pay cash, own the system, and then your payback is 5 years. And the system is got 25 years of life. So after the first 5 years, the system is free. Whatever it generates is all free. And it provides you a lot of independence when paired with a battery. Next question. Okay.
So why and how is it related to transition
A solar company to energy company simply means we take care of the customer. That is the homeowner. You care about your energy needs. Like you're not going to bother about solar or storage. All you want is complete control of the energy you consume. And in order to have complete control of the energy you consume, you need to produce energy, you need to store energy, you need to export energy, and you need to import energy. And we enable you to do all of it. So rather than focusing only on solar, we do solar plus storage. We manage everything through software. And you saw the app. It's a comprehensive home energy management system. We can connect your EVs. We can connect your generators. We can connect heat pumps. We can connect everything outside the home so that the homeowner can see everything from the palm of his hand through the app. He only needs to watch everything through the app. Next question.
I'm not sure how exactly this works, but I know that in some countries it's not possible to use the energy directly from the solar panels, and you have to sell it to the grid. So what do you do in those countries? And in this country, can I disconnect myself from the grid and use directly?
Yeah, the question is, in some countries, they don't allow you to export to the grid. What do? Example of such a country is Germany. In Germany, what they have is they have something called as a power export limit. They will not allow you to export more than so much of power back to the grid. But in all of those cases, the philosophy is the same. You are focused on self-consumption. Self-consumption means whatever you consume is provided by solar plus storage. So to a first order, you don't need to consume anything from the grid. You don't need to send anything to the grid. All you need to do is to take care of yourself. That's it. Many countries want you to operate that way, and our system enables you to operate that way. But if there is money to be made selling my energy to the grid in, for example, peak summer months, we can do that too. Next question.
So what it seemed like from the presentation was that Enphase focuses on just supplying to residential homeowners. Were you guys ever thinking of going commercial or grid scale with your interface?
Yeah. Okay. Today our business, she's right. Today our business is 98% is residential, which is we deal with homes. But we are planning to soon enter into small commercial. That means hospitals, churches, schools, gas stations, all of that. We are planning to do it later this year, and we are coming out with a product for it.
Okay. I'm going to take one from the Zoom. There's a texted question?
So, okay, the student that texted this question is, what do you do in counties that can't use the energy directly from the solar panels and have to sell it to the grid? Can they also get disconnected from the grid and use the energy directly and sell the rest?
Yeah, that's a similar question that she asked, so I answered the same question.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, Vicky, go ahead. Which one? White stripe, yeah.
Hi, my name's Badri. My neighbor is computer science. A hypothetical. You're joining Enphase in 2017. You're burning through money, you're low on cash. But imagine now that you only have a version 1 that is ready to ship. And it's not greater than any competitors. Your version 2, the one you came to, is underway in the progress of development, but it's not ready to be shipped. Would you do anything different?
No, I mean, look, if you look at a short-term gain, that's going to come back and bite you in the ass later. So no, I mean, I would look for, if I'm going to run out of cash, I would look for more John Doors. That's all I have to do, because there is no point in shipping a product that is poor quality. It's as simple as that.
Okay, this is really tough. I think, yes, this question here behind.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think in your presentation, you mentioned that you focus on increasing price to a more reasonable point, which helped the business grow. But I also noticed that the company sold more per year to more customers and probably acquire more of the market. I was wondering what the key was for getting more customers even with an increased price.
Solar is a very tricky business. You are dealing with the product that is going to last for 25 years. So installers have become very smart, and they have understood what is cost of ownership means. Cost of ownership means that they, to keep the cost of ownership low, they need a product with very high quality. Otherwise, they have to keep going to the home. And every time they go to the home, they have to roll a truck. Every truck roll that they have costs them a lot more money. So initially, they were nickel and diming, saying, you know what, yeah, can I have a $5 more, etc., or $5 cheaper part? But they quickly realized that you have to pay for the value. If not, you're going to shortchange yourself.
Yeah, a couple more in the back, and then we'll have to end. Go ahead.
You said that the product lasts 25 years. In a position where you didn't have that much capital, why did you decide to take calls from home consumers when they aren't a returning customer?
Well, I mean, look, the most important thing for us is to fix customer problems. If we don't fix customer issues, what's the point? If you don't make the product better, then, yeah, it's over. So it was a simple, logical decision that we have to hear from customers. We have to take care of their problems, because angry customers will tell other customers. They will tell. I mean, it happens much more than what you believe. They will do that, and there is pride at the end of the day. You want to be shipping something that is world class. That's the core. That's what we all, Enphase at least, as long as I'm there, I believe we are all committed to that pursuit of excellence. World-class products, world-class quality, world-class service.
Okay, maybe one last question. Okay, I'm going to have, Vicky, you choose.
Hi, hi, Badri. Thank you so much for taking the time. So when you mentioned that all you did was fine-tuning things over the last 7 years and that you were sitting on a great product,
was the previous management just grossly negligent of the way the business was running? Was it fear that was holding them back from taking the big decisions that you did? And because, you know, when you came in, you laid off people, you cut off projects that they were working on, and you must have got some pushback from board members and shareholders. So I'd love to just get some color on that and how you dealt with all of that.
Yeah. You know, the previous management did an incredible job taking the company from nothing in 2006, startup, all the way to $300 million per year in 2016. The same skills cannot be applied for the next 10 years. You know, startup CEOs think differently. They don't think cost. They don't think operations. They don't think efficiency. They don't think great customer service. They are in a hurry to get a product out. And, you know, so basically I cannot speak negatively of them because they did an amazing job. And like what I said, I couldn't have fixed the company if the product wasn't good. So they did their part. It was just unreasonable for us to expect that they will scale from $300 million to $30 billion. So the board recognized it. I mean, the board, they took some time. They recognized it. They replaced management. So I had full support from September 2017 onwards.
All right. Thank you, and we fully support your continued success. Please join me in thanking Badri.
And wait, couple announcements. And let's also thank Dean Liu for spending our evening with us.